Good morning, polar bears. Crazy D 877 here. Starting mileage 56,777.7. 56,777.7. And starting temp is 8.1 degrees Celsius. On a snowy morning, 8.1. I just wiggle the flashlight around and hope to get a good shot of it, because I know it shoots some glare, guys. Minus 8.1 C. Alright, just gonna GoPro in the box and get off to work.
And, snowed last night. We finally got some snow. Not quite the way I wanted. It came down as a super wet, sloppy, icy snow. We were out at a family do last night and come home and there's tons of cars in the ditch, and fire trucks and ambulances. And now the road just like I love. Ridged, icy, with a little bit of slippery snow on top. It's just lightly snowing. Got a neighbor wave to me. Alright, well, I changed my tire last night. I procrastinated long enough. And, whoa, feet went down there. And, pulled a late night back tire switch. I had switched my front a couple days ago, I guess. I knew I had to do the back if I was going to get anywhere today, because they were talking about a flash freeze. It was +1 all day yesterday, and it's still snowed like a bugger. We got 3 or 4 inches, but then it would have been more. It was just so wet and heavy. It was packing down. Beautiful snowman making weather. Not the greatest for riding a motorcycle. Alright, so I said I was going to comment on tires. And I took a bit of a vid last night when I was changing mine. But talked about my tire pretty much. Got a couple beers, so I don't know how that'll turn out. We'll probably put it at the end of this one. Tire pressure is one of the more important things in the winter. With every couple of degrees it drops, your tire will lose a little bit of pressure, so you got to keep on checking it. I think I mentioned last night that when I changed my other front, I had like 8 pounds in it, and that's just because of deterioration. I'm sure it started off at about 20, and then I didn't check it, and I knew it was going a little low because the front end was getting heavy steering. There we go. Well, there's knobby on the back, seems to be grabbing pretty good, but I wouldn't recommend running a knobby anytime on a street bike unless you're planning on riding in the winter or you're running mainly off-road. The knobby I have on is a fairly soft compound. This Kenda, it's probably got 2,000 kilometers on it and it's more than half worn. That's one of the reasons I held off so long in changing it. I just don't want to wear it out. I didn't want to put it on in November, early December and run dry roads until, you know, it'll be worn out by February. Got a bang lane. Anyway, you're better off to go if you're just doing all season riding and you might encounter a little bit of snow and you want a good compound tire, shop around. And you'll probably find something for a reasonable price. But do you really want to spend money on something that you might not use? I guess it's a peace of mind thing. Yeah, back to tire pressure. 3 PSI can make a big difference. Now I run tubes in both my tires, so I can run mine a lot lower than I normally would if I had a bead on. tubeless tire. So I could probably, my Harley's pretty heavy, but I could probably go down to 10 pounds, 13 pounds in both of these, and I'd be okay as long as I, didn't hit it really hard to try to rip that back tire off. Because at low PSI, if you're in an extreme situation, you just turn the tire on, the bead doesn't seat well enough, it turns the tire, it rips your tube, and you gotta flatten, you're fucking stranded. On a street tire, you run around 20 pounds. On a hard compound tire, I think it's gonna help the tire heat up a bit. Your bike's gonna feel a little funnier, but it'll definitely help it heat up quicker. That's just my opinion as well. I'm not a tire expert or anything. I've changed hundreds of tires. and run lots of crappy tires and run lots of good tires. Fuck off. Flash me. Is my headlight off? Oh, he flashed me. Look at the top up here. I can hear the hum of that knobby behind me. Listen, if you're running lower pressure in your tire, then that was recommended for shorter jaunts, not out for any 50 milers or 100 milers, because your tire is going to be hot. If you don't want it that hot, you could risk a blowout or pulling it off the bead, heating it up so much. So judge your tire pressure by your riding, the road conditions, how far you're going, and the temperature. And something else about road conditions, I didn't know it was diesel they used to clean those roads, Yosh, but I can believe it, because I come across some roads sometimes and they're dark black asphalt, and when it's cold they're super slippery. But you come across some of that asphalt that's got the white on it, like a salt, and I can get good traction on it. Unless it's super cold, then you don't get good traction on anything. But alright guys, I'm gonna quit my ramble and get to work.
Alright, polar bears. 56782.9. 567. Oh, I just dropped my helmet. Damn. Ending mileage 56782.9. I got the Harley swinging. We got a fair bit of snow today. It was warm all day, so I had to throw up a bank fid. But it's supposed to get really cold late tonight, and I'm doing a tire change. So there's my old skin. It's coming off. I should say I've been running fairly low tire pressure in it. Let's just check it now before I pull it off. I'm running, alright, that's pretty unclear, 17 pounds. 17 pounds in the rear, and that wasn't bad. I could have dropped it down a little bit more. Tire that's going on it is a Kenda K760, and it's the more aggressive of the dot Kenda tires. Kenda makes another one, a 720, I think it is, or 780, and it's a little less aggressive. This is the widest 16 I could get locally, and it just barely squeezes on. It's a 100. I should be running a 130, so it makes the bike a little more wobbly at speed, but I'm not going far. That's strictly for the winters here, and that's for snow. My front, I switched out my front a couple days ago. I'm running an old IRC Trials. It was just something I had here. I really wanted to buy another one for this winter, a new one. They match the Kenda 760, because that's a pretty aggressive tire, and it's nice for snow. But this one seems to be okay. I nicknamed it the Super Slider. It's got high sidewalls. I don't like that, because it gives it a little bit too much flex for the winter. And I'm running 18, 19 pounds in it. right now. That seems to be okay, but as I say, with that sidewall flex, I like to keep it a little bit hard. Alright, well, I'm going to get this tire changed. It's like 10:30 at night, and I got to work in the morning at 7, but I'll get it done. So Crazy D, and I am Canadian. Well, that went not too bad. As you can see, that tire is definitely skinny on the rim, and that affects handling. But I'm not going out and carving any big corners anyway. I'm just carving snow. I should mention I had to put a tube in this. It's a tube tire, so I pulled out the valve stem from the tubeless tire, and then I just ran a 16. This is a side valve, so I had to use a Harley 16 side valve tube, and as well in the front I ran a tube in the front as well. If any of you astute Harley guys out there can see my sprocket, I converted to chain drive. The first belt I blew on this bike, I converted it over to chain drive. I went through like 7 on the Buell. There's my baby hiding back there and all the junk. Yeah, the belts just didn't seem to stay on the Buell. I'd rip them off. It'd either stand up and run in second gear, or you'd spit a belt. So I converted to chain. And first time I spit a belt on this 1200, I converted it to chain too. Belts are too expensive, and I've never broken a chain. Oh, so I'm gonna get this tire back on the bike so I can get to work tomorrow.